Good morning, dear hearts. We're on lesson 339. Please subscribe. Today's lesson is I will receive whatever I request, and it is a clear continuation, expansion from yesterday's lesson that I am affected only by my thoughts. Whatever I think about, I will bring about, and I will receive whatever I request. The lesson begins that no one desires pain, and that we can all agree. But he can think that pain is pleasure. No one would avoid his happiness, but he can think that joy is painful, threatening, and dangerous. Everyone will receive what he requests. But why would I even request that? Well, if I'm under the influence of the ego mind, I am completely turned upside down because the ego is 180 degrees different thinking from the thinking of truth, of God. In the relevant thought of what is the ego, it tells us that the ego is proof that strength is weak, love is fearful, life is really death, and what opposes God alone is true. It tells us that the ego is idolatry. The ego is insane. Obviously, if I think pain is pleasure, I'm being insane. I'm mistaking pain for pleasure because I'm listening to what the ego is promising me. To continue with the relevant thought, it says, the ego dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams, its enemies who seek to murder it before it can ensure its safety by attacking them. The world of the ego is a world of vengeance. It's a world of anger. It's a world of attack. And if my mind is caught up in all of that, then I am confused. I am turned upside down, and I have no real idea of what is true and what is false. I might think that what the ego is offering me is all there is. So I try to make the best of it. But what happens is that everything that the ego offers will always turn into pain. The ego doesn't ever offer us anything that is everlasting, that is true, that is filled with our happiness and in our highest and best interest. Going back to the lesson, it says everyone will receive what he requests, but he can be confused indeed about the things he wants and the state he would attain. What can he then request that he would want when he receives it? Nothing. Nothing from the ego mind, nothing that I receive will, after a while, I really want. This reminds me, many of you have heard of or know of the comedian, he was brilliant, George Carlin. And in a documentary I once saw of him, he talked about addiction because he lived with a lot of addiction. And how he described addiction when he first got into it was that it was all pleasure and very little pain. But the longer that he was in this addictive state, it turned around, and it was mostly pain and very little pleasure. That is everything that the ego will ever offer us. It is exactly that. Very little pleasure and a lot of pain. He has asked for what will frighten him and bring him suffering if I am asking for anything from the ego. Let us resolve today to ask for what we really want, and only this, that we may spend this day in fearlessness, spend this day without the ego, spend this day without thinking insane thoughts or thinking of sin, without confusing pain with joy or fear with love. Let us spend this day and receive what it is we want, but know what it is that we want. And so we go to the prayer portion of today's lesson that says, Father, this is your day. It is a day in which I would do nothing by myself, and I would add, or of myself, but hear your voice in everything I do, requesting only what you offer me, accepting only thoughts that you share with me. And we can use this prayer, and again, blend it with, from lesson 71, those 4 wonderful questions of what would you have me, where would you have me go, what would you have me do, what would you have me say, and to whom. And when I listen And then I ask, I will certainly receive whatever I request, but it will be what I want, and it will be what my Father wants for me. Indeed, I will not make any mistakes. I will not go to the ego to try to find joy when all I will be offered ultimately is pain and fear and unhappiness. That is what the ego does. There is a line in a relatively recent song, I think it's called Counting Stars, and the line in that song, when I first heard it, I may have heard the song for a while before I heard the line, but the line is, everything that kills me makes me feel alive. That's what the ego does. It kills us, but it gives us this rush of adrenaline, of believing we are alive, when in truth we are only alive when our mind is one with our Father's. That is when we know life. That is when we know joy. That is when we know love. And that is when we ultimately know who we are. That's it for today. I hope it helped. So please smile. Please breathe deeply. Please comment. Please subscribe. Please share. And please pray for all of us to truly receive what we really want and know that it comes from our Father and not from the ego. Namaste.